Cleared of any wrongdoing. That is the outcome of the internal investigation into the 3 Tacoma police officers acquitted last month in the death of Manny Ellis. Despite the finding, the 3 police officers will not return to the Tacoma Police Department. The city of Tacoma planning to pay each officer $500,000 for voluntarily agreeing to resign. And this morning, we're hearing from a local leader on what these decisions could mean for the community and what she thinks needs to happen next. Joining us live, Tacoma City Council member Jamaica Scott is with us. Councilmember Scott, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So just off the top, what do you think about the outcome of the internal investigation?
I mean, ultimately, what I got from it is that, we had a policy in place in the city for much longer than it should have been in place that really allowed these officers and any officer that especially in 2020 that they could use essentially whatever type of force came to them as so long as they felt it was reasonable and it really didn't have anything in there about accountability, regardless of the extent if somebody died as a result, was harmed as a result, or if it was just used in general. There's no process by which to look at whether it was done correctly, done appropriate, used at the appropriate time, and if not, if any of those things were amiss, what are the next steps to making sure that that officer is trained and it doesn't happen again?
What's your take on the resignation agreement, the $500,000 payouts to each officer for voluntarily agreeing to resign?
Yeah, I mean, I feel a couple ways about it. Ultimately, it's a small price to pay in some ways to get the outcome that the community wanted, which was that these officers were separated and not able to go back to the streets of Tacoma. On the other hand, in some ways, because the city has been dealing with so much and the city is in so much need of different resources that, this takes from our ability to provide those resources for the city. So on that hand, it's a little frustrating.
Now, we spoke with you earlier this week, and you said that Manny Ellis's death fractured the community, and you said, in your words, it's on our shoulders to heal. So how does the community begin to move forward now that the trial and the internal investigation have wrapped up, and which areas of the community require the most healing, in your opinion? We had a moment at our council meeting last night to share some remarks, and one of the sentiments I shared there was there's not anybody in this city, whether they recognize it or not, that wasn't touched by this case because it has a lot of implications for how we move forward as a city and how we're doing as a city. And so I don't think that there's any one part of the community that needs the healing most. I think as a community in general, we need it because we're seeing the outcomes of not having trust between civilians and our police force, of seeing that dichotomy and that chasm that pops in between, people who need help and then being fearful of what happens when they call for help, whether that's that they're harmed or that the response time is too long and people aren't there in time. So. You touched on this just a moment ago. Do you believe there needs to be a change in local policing, and what changes would you like to see?
I think there needs to be a change in policing all around. I think, when we look at the roots to policing, it started in slavery, and nobody likes to be policed. It's inherently oppressive. And so, with that in mind, we have to find a way to do it with humanity, with dignity, with respect. And that's on both ends. We need to make sure that our community feels safe. And the thing about when the community feels safe, it actually will make the officers' jobs easier. It will make them feel safer coming into the communities. But at the end of the day, the officers signed up for a job, and they have to be willing to be held to a higher standard because they are taking on a job that is critical in the community. And so sometimes it might be fair or feel unfair that we're holding officers to a higher standard, but in some ways it has to be. But at the end of the day, we are looking to make sure that both our civilians and the police have what they need to come to the community, to each of us play our role in keeping the community safe, and nobody is feeling like when they are calling for help that they're either not heard or they're heard and still being ignored.
And so what would you say your role is in that, using your position as a council member to make everyone, citizens and police alike, feel heard and protected?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a big part of it is going to be, and I've been, I'm trying to kind of work out the details because it is a big taking, but looking at things in the spirit of restorative justice, we have criminal proceedings, we have civil proceedings, but what we really need in this moment is a space where the community can come together, regardless of what you feel about this issue, where officers and other first responders can come together. We can share our actual lived experiences. We can see the humanity in each other. Once you start to see that humanity in each other, it's much harder to dismiss people. It's much harder to put each other in buckets and stereotypes. And you start to see people for the individualism and the diversity and all of the different strengths that they can bring to a community, regardless of what your role in that community is.
Tacoma City Council member Jamika Scott, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.